Welcome everyone to a casted game for Age of Empires 4, and today's spawning southeast corner map playing in blue, we got beastyqt playing as the Mongols, and his opponent in the northwest playing in red. We have got louemt playing as the Chinese. Welcome everyone to Dry Arabia. That's the map for today in two interesting civilizations. It's been a while since we've seen these two, I've got to say Mongols as well. I've missed them, dare I say. It's not often the case I say that, but I have missed the Mongols and the Khan. Running underneath the town center. Got to be careful here, Beastie. I mean, he should get out of there fine, but took quite a few hits there. In any case, the Mongols versus the Chinese. Kind of an interesting one. The Chinese can be very booming. Can be very economy-based and maybe get Song Dynasty to town center play, possibly. We'll have to see, but on the current meta it's been interesting because a lot of civilizations have been actually... Well, I mean, the Mongols, they can trade, and... Ultimately, trade has been really strong for a while, has had some nerfs recently, but the Chinese might not want to let the Mongols trade for too long uninterrupted. We don't know if that's going to be even the play. Will we see an outpost rush? Yeah, I mean, it seems like it actually. We're going to get a barracks opening for Beastie. The question is, how do China deal with that? I mean, it's actually not too bad. I've got to say, the Chinese do have a lot of tools in this matchup. Like, you might be wondering, well, how do they stop an outpost rush this early? Like, the Barbican and Sun can't be built anytime soon. Not quick enough, at least. But don't forget that the Chinese do have access to the Imperial Official. The Imperial Official can supervise production in buildings, and so, whilst they have to pay for both spearmen that they produce, or however many spearmen they do produce, they can produce them very quickly with the supervision of the Imperial Official. Of course, the Mongols do get a spearman for free. Not so much for free, but they get it a lot more reduced cost, of course. Factoring in the stone that they get from the Uvu. So, you know, spearmen are a little bit cheaper for the Mongols, but ultimately defender's advantage plays a big role. And it takes a while for the spearmen to get across the map, and the Chinese won't have any of that problem, because there it is, there's the barracks being built, and there's the outpost going on the gold. But bear in mind as well, the Chinese don't really rely on necessarily the gold being mined. They can always get the gold from their tax collection. That's always an option too, but either way, Louis not happy to give up map control, or at least map position in this regard, because you'd have to deal with the outpost at some point. And he's not having any of it. And there it is. There's a supervision coming in there for Louis. Going to get those spearmen out quick time and look to torch down that outpost. Needs to wait for at least 3 or 4 of those spearmen before he engages. But he will be looking to engage pretty soon. But this is such a great way to deny or at least counteract the Mongols' outpost rush coming out for Beastie. Third spearman pops out for the Mongols and has a scout in play here. The Chinese as well gets that extra vision. Needs to be careful not to take too many losses. But he does tank. I mean, he could potentially tank a couple of spearman shots and he'll be fine because the scout will regenerate health. Does get a couple of torches on the outpost, which is actually really key because Beastie will no longer get a full refund if he cancels it. He does cancel it. A great start there by the Chinese. Great defense against the outpost rush. It's exactly the start that louemt needed. In the north, Khan picking up quite a decent number of sheep, and question is, where does Beastie go from here? The outpost rush has been denied. Villager heading back home. Interesting opening so far. Plenty of gold coming in for the next age up. Needs a bit more food. Once he does get it... Oh, that's a great engagement there by louemt. Beastie went through and maybe didn't A-move. And because of that, lost a bit of valuable HP. There's no way he can take that fight now. And louemt will probably stop the production of the barracks and does move the Imperial Official back to supervising food. It's going to be the silver tree, so certainly trade on the cards for the Mongols. Now, I might need to scale that. Now, the trade could be pretty decent, I've got to say, because the neutral trade post means that the landmark will go here for sure there. The silver tree in the corner, south corner. And it'll be off, giving him a very nice trade route. But he won't want to be too aggressive with that because it looks like maybe Louis, sensing that needs to be a bit more aggressive, might snipe at the Khan. Oh, that's a good number hit. He does snipe at the Khan there. Fortunately for Beastie, he's going to have to wait for that to respawn. And behind this, what does louemt do? Does he go for Song Dynasty 2 town center plays? Quite possible. But he has to be cognizant of the potential of trade coming out for the Mongols. And it looks like it's going to be the Song Dynasty at least. Imperial Academy being built with 1 villager. And then most likely the Barbican. The question is, where does he put the Barbican? Could potentially put it in front of that gold vein to protect it. Maybe in the deer camp. Could be super aggressive. Go for a Barbican drop in the front lines. And the good thing for Beastie is actually pushing in the deer camp with the spearmen that was left behind. So he's making use of them at least. to get valuable food off the map. Now going on to gold, so possibly even a Song Dynasty into Castle Age, because a lot of villages in gold. Maybe it's just for upgrades, we'll have to see. I'm doing great work on micromanaging and getting the gold tax in from the buildings. And there is that new age. Silver Tree is up and running. Maybe looking to go down the south corner, opening with an archer range unstable. Keshiks and archers, typical opening for the Mongols, no real surprises. It's a strong army they can get out with that. Pushing in the deer, close to the Ger. Imperial Academy almost up and running. Of course, this is where the Chinese do take some time to get online. They had to spend a lot of food on those spearmen. And I was going to go with 7 villages on the Barbican. Going for the deer camp. I like this spot. I like it a lot. There's a tendency to be a defensive with it, but there's no need for this, especially now that he knows about the Silver Tree. So louemt expecting a bit of a trade boom. Now he might give a little bit to get a lot. Might allow the Mongols to trade a bit. Now hear me out. The reason why that's so significant is because defending trade is significantly harder than defending your base economy. Because you can always rely on static defenses as the Chinese. The Mongols don't get that, or at least they don't get palisades anyway. They do get those outposts, of course, cheaper outposts, which certainly helps. But ultimately, what can be really nice in this matchup, if you're the Chinese or any other civilization going up against Mongol trade, especially if you have a good booming economy yourself, well, there's always an option to get that strong booming economy and then look to, well, get a timing attack, get a massive units, and then push out to deny the Mongol trade as best as possible. It's always an option. Pushing in the deer camp close to the mill just to make things a little bit more efficient as possible. Down in the south, the Silver Tree is now up and running, starting to produce those traders. They're slowly making their way to the trade post, eventually at least. Pushing in the deer with the scout. Nicely done. So both players kind of booming up a little bit with the economy, which is very much understandable. Just keeping that wood line safe and secure. Always conscious about the possibility of Keshiks riding in. So it's something that the Chinese are going to be cognizant of and make sure he's safe and secure at home. Here comes the first trader. 79 gold. Not too shabby at all. A second market as well. They're going to be looking a bit greedy here in terms of trade. It's something that Chinese have to be very careful of. But as we say, there's a Song Dynasty. There's a second town center. Scout using the eagle there. Khan, just get extra vision. But bear in mind, the trade is going to be difficult to protect in some cases. And so the Chinese have an option. They've got to time it well, though. Can't let the trade go too crazy. But if he can look to try and deny that in the next sort of 5-10 minutes, whilst he'll give a little bit of leeway to let the trade happen, he'll punish it later on. And actually, in a way, in a strange way, you kind of want to let the Mongols get some traders out because it's an investment after all. Well, it does pay back very quickly. But it's an investment nonetheless. And if you can do some eco damage once the eco is there, that could be painful. Of course, if he's denying the trade from the get-go, well, he won't necessarily have an economy himself. So bear that in mind. Like he's opting to get safer economy versus allowing his opponent to get more risky economy, which he can then look to punish later on in the game. So conceptually, think about it that way. And it's kind of an interesting thing to think about strategically, right? You allow your opponent to get some economy, but knowing that it's a relatively unsafe economy that you can punish later on. And in exchange for that, what you do is you get your own safe economy and then look to punish your opponent's unsafe economy with your military you end up getting. And the timing is pretty quick on that. Take a look at the production buildings. 4 archery ranges and a barracks. That's going to be plenty of Chukunu popping out very soon, very quickly. And of course, he's already got the villager leader economy lead. And that might scale pretty quickly, although the double trade market. Triple market? Holy moly, that's greedy. Now, it can work if Louis doesn't time this well. Louis going to need to get out of there soon. Oh, villager has to back away from that village. 2 Keshiks riding in. He's got to be careful now. The good thing about the Chinese, the town centers do have hand cannon slits, which are markedly better at dealing with cavalry. So that beastie has to be careful not to dive in too closely. He might lose a villager here on the Chinese, but he needs to keep safe. I mean, we talked about the Chinese having safer economy, but ultimately, it's beastie who've done some worker damage already. He's killed 2 villagers versus, well, the 0 that the Chinese have achieved. Oh, Archer's going to try and break through now with some spearmen too, trying to break through the palisade walls. He's walling up nicely. It'll buy time for the Chinese, which is kind of interesting. It allows the Chinese to do what they want to do. I like this. Make no mistake, like, yeah, he's happy. He's okay with this. He's going to get his army in position though, just to make sure they don't get too close for comfort. That's the last thing he'd want to do. The trader's really starting to build up. Beastie, I mean, he's going to get a lot of gold. Holy mo, that's great trade route. 86 gold, 8 food, 8 wood per trader. It's a bit tricky for the Chinese. Got to be careful, because if Beastie continues to produce military with that trade, it could be tricky. Now, we could just re-wall this up, actually, because there's not much of a wood investment here to wall up to the side of the map and then between the 2 wood lines. But he doesn't necessarily feel like he has to. He does have Steel Arrow, which is absolutely huge. So do the Mongols. Another player getting an undermesh just yet, although as I say that, the Chinese are getting it as we speak. And so are the Mongols. But of course, the Chukunu would just do better against these archers. Does get a couple of hits. The speared arrow comes out for the Khan, just to be able to get out of there quick enough. And a villager coming out to re-wall that palisade. But overall, Beastie won't be too unhappy about this, because he's got trade, right? He's also got the YAM network speed, so these guys are moving extra fast. It's extending that. And it's going to need the outpost anyway for the static defense to protect the trade. But it's getting to a bit of a scary number of units now. Around the 15-minute mark, that's where the Chinese will really come online. And he's pumping out units, and ultimately, Beastie doesn't really have enough to deal with this. The big thing is a Chukunu, right? It's like it's a feudal age unit, but it's kind of like a hybrid. Like it's a, I don't know, if you think about tiers, if feudal age is a tier 2, castle age tier 3, the Chukunu feels like a 2.5 tier. So if they can still do well against even Keshiks, as long as they've got massive numbers, and they definitely have that. And it's going to try and cut off that trade route as we speak. Now the Keshiks might do well to try and pick off reinforcements. The first trader goes down. This is the timing attack we're expecting to talk about, right? How traders are literally, they're a lot difficult to protect. And Beastie's going to find that out. Well, yeah, I'm sure he knows about that. He's going to try and he's been trying to protect it for a significant time with outposts and arrow slits. This outpost is up, but I'm not so sure Beastie can take this fight. 55 minutes to 27. Look at that. Look at the flood of units heading across the map. This is where Chinese really come online. And it's going to take down the outpost. And ultimately at this stage, the traders, I mean, they'll still get a couple more trips in. But some traders will go down. Can lose a spearman. Spearman garrison inside once again. Outpost goes down. And yep, this is looking a little bit tricky. He's lost a couple of units there that were garrisoned inside. And the flood of the Chinese units really starting to escalate. Now behind this, the Mongols do get to the castle age, which will certainly help, but ultimately the timing is a bit awkward, because he spent a lot of resources to get to that castle age. He doesn't have the massive units, and as we said, even against highly armored units, these Chukunu can still pack a punch, and when they've got heavy numbers, and they do have heavy numbers, and the trade has been denied. I mean, ultimately there's no way to get through here. We'll have a couple of more trade routes, and I mean, the ones that have gotten through, they've gotten through. That's going to be looking tricky. Going to go with the Kurultai. Okay, well, it looks like the Chinese backing away for now. Feels like he's done some damage. Maybe opting to save up units and get a standing army to get to the castle age himself. But, I mean, feudal age doesn't look terrible for him. It's going to be up against veteran Keshiks. So he's got to be careful about that. But there's plenty of spearmen. I feel like the only real counter to this is man-at-arms for the Mongols. But ultimately, it takes a while to get there. And to get the massive numbers. So he's going to need the veterancy upgrades first for the archers and the Keshiks. Against that army, even veteran Keshiks and veteran archers, I think the Chukunu will be okay. And it feels like the Chinese now are actually opting for that castle age. He's not going to want to waste the army, and he wants the veteran Chukunu himself, wants the veteran spearman. And with that, he'll be able to do fine. Can I get the berries in? And once that happens, though, he's going to need a hard farming transition. So it's going to be a bit of a quiet period, at least for the Chinese, for the next sort of 5 minutes, whilst he does stabilize his economy, whilst he gets to the castle age, but also starts to seed those farms, because he's going to need some farms soon. for that farming transition, but it does have a good standing army to help him get there. The trade will be established once again. And it will be the astronomical clock tower going up with 26 villagers. So that's going to go up quick time. I mean, it needs to really. I wonder if any relics being brought up by shaman for the Mongols just yet. We don't see a prayer tent. Over goes down. Now Beastie, recognizing that his opponent is likely to be teching up, in fact has already teched up, so he notices that, and now he's going to pile some pressure as much as he can. I was going to focus on those berries, which is actually a nice attempt here to deny food income. 62 villagers are on food. About half of them just brought away though. That's going to take some time to break through. Might be surrounded here. Beastie might need to get out of here. Might lose some units quite significantly. Kurultai heading forward. Needs to back away with the Kurultai lest he loses it. Keshik's going to try and get a wraparound on the Chukuru, but there's a decent number of spearmen. And this is the issue. Having the ranged attack means that the units, when they do engage and they back away, some will go down on the retreat. A couple of Keshiks do ride in, just 2. The rest of the army having to be pushed away. Kurultai deploys, but he's going to have to back away from that. I wonder if Louis looks to try and surround it. He does manage to escape with it in the north. Keshik looking to deny the food income. This is smart by Beastie. Recognizing that food is an issue at this kind of time, and that farming transition is often needed. Look to try and take care of those pocket economies, keep control of it, but Chukuru will push back the archers. Not enough Keshiks here. Coming down the south to deny. And that one unit, that's actually huge by the way. That one unit forcing the Keshiks back home is absolutely huge. One Keshik remains, but that guy will probably go down pretty quickly. Still on the berries there in the south, which is certainly helpful to keep up the unit production, which he needs. 74 versus 51. This is looking great for the Chinese, I gotta say. The Song Dynasty works so well. Even against trade. Oh, the veteran Keshik's just riding past and is going to lose so much. That's a terrible fight. Lost about 3-4 Keshiks. For completely free. Kurultai will deploy and he needs to be defensive here, which is not what the position the Mongols want to be in. A couple of palace guards. Got to be careful actually. Might lose a villager or 2 here at this point. And 2 Keshiks getting some value, but yeah, trade is still working, but not for long. Can look to take down the Uvu as well. Good number of those veteran Chukunu working well for the Chinese. Oh, palace guards being added as well, which I love because they're going to add to the fight very quickly. They've got good movement speed, 1.38 tiles per second. Oh, that's a lot of veteran Keshiks though, denying the food. He added more there. There were 2 to start off with and a couple of spearmen being pushed out in that area. I'd love to see some walls coming out for louemt if he can, just to make sure he's safe and secure because there's threat of those Keshiks. He's always looming. Wait, Beastie. He's going further forward, looking to do some damage. Trade route has been denied. Now bear in mind that the infantry for the Chinese, they don't have as great mobility. And so if he decides to head back, he will be delayed. And in fact, it looks like Beastie heading back home. Doesn't fancy his chances just yet. Spearman pushing the Keshik on the east side. Looking to get the wood line? I was kind of expecting to see a boar here, but that's an interesting choice. He wants some wood for sure. Ultimately, he's looking to deny the wood from his opponent, I guess. And Beastie doesn't feel confident about moving forward just yet. Wants to sweep up the army that's there already. Does have a mangonel, which will certainly help. But no springald on the field just yet for the Chinese. Does have the astronomical clock tower that will help in that regard. Wallow coming up just as a distraction. That is a big distraction. Mangonel deploys. That's huge. That's so smart for Beastie. You can see exactly what he was doing. Deployed the Wallow and then attacked with the mangonel. Smart move, that's for sure. Keshik's going to ride in. Palace guards need to tank on the front line. They do. They turn around and fight. The Chukunu turn to fire their arrows, but it's got to be careful not to get in range of those mangonels. There's 2 now. There's no springles on the field. Keshiks do take a couple of arrows. 1 goes down on the retreat. And, well, Keshiks going to be trying to tank that front line and allow the mangonels to do what they want to do. Kurultai moving further forward. Here's a nest of bees. That could be a huge shot. Nest of bee does deploy. Spread formation comes out just in time there for Beastie. Just as well, because that could have been a huge shot otherwise. Palace guards ripping through, as are the spearmen. The Keshiks going down. A great fight for the Chinese. Spread formation comes up for the Chukunu. 2 mangonels still alive, but the Palace guards might take care of that. Another mangonel shot gets off. Again, spread formation working out well, and the 2 mangonels go down. Nest of bee still alive. That's a great fight there for the Chinese. A great fight there for Louis, and he's chasing with the Palace guards. At least for now. Kurultai heading back home. Beastie having to head back home with his army. Oh my god. That's a lot of traders. That's a lot of gold just about coming in. I mean, he should be okay to make the trip. And a single trip, that gold income going to be skyrocketing very fast. I hope he's got a market, because he's going to need to balance that economy for sure. Of course he's got a market. He's got the silver tree. The first thing he got, really, in the game. Oh, I love that keep, I got to say. Going to be protecting the 8,000 gold vein and the sacred site. Now, I wonder whether he looks to be a bit more aggressive, actually, with this, because if he places it here, it makes it very difficult for trade, very difficult for the gold to come in. I wonder if he would be so bold. No, he's going to play it safe and secure for now and get access to the gold himself. He wants to keep it safe and alive, I guess. Makes sense. 2 Keshiks going around the back. No palisades warding up this side just yet for Louis. Beastie starting to regroup and rebuild. He's got a large army. Both players on a decent amount of economy. But look at the gold that is just about to skyrocket. Look at that. Went from 800 to almost 3,000. Huge amounts of gold coming out for Beastie. Might snipe out the monk. He will do. Good pick off there. Will delay the income coming in somewhat. 3 relics in play for the Mongols. Just certainly helpful. And he's, oh, I love this move. Okay, instead of the keep getting position, he's going to palisade wall up instead and force the trade into the path of the keep. That's bad news there for Beastie. He's going to head back further with trade. I don't think he gets another trip though easily. At least not easily. Oh no, he spotted it. Those villages are gone. There's no way they're escaping, right? Having to move a lot of units to do that though. He's going to keep. Oh, he's going to keep the 2 markets and the silver tree alive. They got through in the end. Palisades are up though. Going to shorten the trade route, but still have a trade route at least. He's going to deposit a bit of gold as the trade route is established once again. How much gold will he get this time though? Not half as much I wouldn't have thought. Yeah, 45 gold. Just about half. Couple of villages going down to 97 economy. Louis has killed so much. The trade has been difficult to establish itself, and that'll push the Chinese in a great economy. Might be opting to go to the Imperial Age pretty soon, which will be absolutely huge. Is in fact looking to maybe get the boar in the north, which would be a great influx of food. Who has the deer camp there ready to be taken, but ultimately he's got a farming transition with the granaries. That is a huge farming transition. He's got plenty of wood in the back as well. Resource-wise, he's doing fine here, Louis, as the Chinese. Three Springles and a nest of bees. A large army too. Might start to see an engagement here. This could be huge. Quite a lot of siege for the Mongols. I've got to say, 4 mangonels. This is the problem. I don't think the Chinese can fight this. He's going to fight off with one nest of bees. Has to back away for now. Palace Guard takes the brunt of those 4 mangonels. Does lose 1 siege engine, which was the nest of bees. Keshiks going to ride through and try and get a wraparound if they can. Veteran archers on the back line. Oh, Spearmen could do well to actually engage this if they could. He's been backed away into the corner. Going to go back to the keep, which is not a bad option at all. Louis has got to find a way to keep these units alive if he can. Could snowball otherwise. Keshik's backing away. Oh, but Beastie might look to head across to his army, to his enemy base. There's the Imperial Age though. And what landmark did he go with? Looks like he went with the Spirit Way. We didn't quite see it though. Yeah, there it is. The Spirit Way. Oh, but he's looking to be aggressive now. Beastie. This could be an issue. Could be a base trade. I mean, ultimately, Louis can't make it back in time. He's got a lot of army here. But, I mean, the thing is that static defenses are there for the Chinese. We've got the palisades, which will buy him some time. There's no such thing there for the Mongols. And this could be tricky. Especially because a lot of the food is concentrated around the town centre. Oh no, he's aging up. He's aging up with the white stupa, but the big problem is that the army's heading that position. The Beastie has broken through. Keshik's riding in on that farming transition. Mangonel's deploying as well. The mangonels could take a lot of the farms, I've got to say, actually. That's kind of key. Oh, but he's going to lose Springwood. He's going to lose the mangonel. That just popped out as well. That's rough there for Beastie. The Spirit Way means that the dynasty units will heal themselves a little bit with allied units dying. Oh, it's a good few villages going to die here for Beastie. That's a big problem. But bear in mind, at home, the Chinese can garrison inside the villages, inside the town centres. He'll be fine for a while. The same cannot be said for Beastie's villages. And the Mongols, a lot of villagers dying on that white stupa. Oh, there's still trade there as well. And if you can get a couple of units here, Louis, you'll be denying the trade. He is. He's getting spearmen. That's absolutely huge. He's bleeding units. He does have a lot of units further forward there, Beastie. 4 mangonels, in fact. And some springalds. So going to do well to take out the town centre. And that means there's not as much space to garrison inside anymore for those villagers. Might lose villagers, but ultimately he's got 116 villagers. He can replace them pretty quickly. Oh, this is not looking great. There is another mangonel going down to 2 palace guards. The trader's going to head through. They're going to get a deposit, but again, a couple of traders will go down. Down to 77 economy. Beastie feels like it's kind of an all-in push here with this army. If he loses the army, there's a problem. Oh, the palace guards going to get on top of the mangonels. Oh, no, they don't. Just about. Gets away with it. We'll lose maybe 1 mangonel possibly here. We shall see. Mangonels deploy, though. Yeah, he does lose 1 mangonel in the end. But again, takes out a lot of the army. Not too terrible there for Beastie overall. But again, trade is being interrupted somewhat. A lot of siege here. Holy moly, is going lots of mangonels. He's struggling on food after all, so has to keep producing. Oh no, that's absolutely massive. Fortune Canoe, absolutely decimating those villagers. Killed 68 so far. Beastie's not recognizing it. He spots it now. But again, the trade has been assaulted for so long. The army's still strong here, though. Might lose 8 villagers here, the Chinese. Have to back away with those ones. louemt not spotting it just yet. Keshik's right in. Yep, he gets 8 villagers. So a good bit of pick off there for the economy. But again, it feels like he's suffered more damage than he's dealt. Oh, Speargun replacement inside the outpost. We'll take care of those 2 Chickenu if they get too close for comfort. Spearman still there. Just one, though. So traders still will be working. Here comes the Kurultai in the forward position. This is absolutely insane. I mean, the good thing is that the Chinese have walled up on the east side, so he just has to clear up this army, then he should be fine to rebuild. But he's losing a lot of the infrastructure, losing a lot of farms. Beastie can kind of build up again. There's not many army units forward. Down to 22 military here, Louis. And all of a sudden, Beastie's looking in a good spot. He's doing so much damage, although there's no rams, right? He's relying a lot on mangonels. It's mostly archers as well, which don't have much, well, don't have any torch damage. Lack of torch damage or siege. Kind of hurting himself not to kill the enemy quick enough. There's always an opportunity for the Chinese to come back into this, especially if he gets onto the woodlands like that. Palace guards could be a big problem, by the way. It could be a big problem to deal with, especially if they get on top of the mangonels. There are 4 of them. Oh no, he's going to get on top of this. There's no way to deny this. 4 mangonels going to go in a blink of an eye, and that's absolutely huge. Huge amounts of value coming out of that. That little raid with palace guards is also going to kill villagers on the town centre. And the Mongols play a very, very kind of... The economy is always stacked up in one area. I was going to lose a bombard as well. There's absolute huge value coming out there for the Chinese. Could this be a way back into the game? Because so many resources just been lost in a blink of an eye. He just needs to deal with this army at the back of his base, though. It's doing so much damage. But meanwhile, the farming transition has moved over to the east side and could even take the boar if he's got the presence of mind to get it. But here, this is a problem. Beastie losing villagers, and they're not going to be kept. They're going to be kept idle for a long time. Down to 77. Traders moving their way across, but again, still half the trade route, right? The walls here did so much work for the Chinese, and the keep too. There's no way for the Beastie to deny that keep either. The Spirit Way will go down next. Could potentially look to get a landmark victory, but it'll be tricky against the Chinese. Of course, often have multiple landmarks. 2 lancers will be dying there on the back line. Oh, trying to get a keep in that position. I mean, I don't think he manages it in the end. Yeah, the Lancers just too much. I think he needs to delete this. I mean, they are Chinese villagers, so they do build a bit faster. That's going to be tight. I think he gets it in the end. Yeah, he gets it in the end, but not without losses. The death ball of army there for the Mongols still alive and kicking. It does just about get the keep there. Trade. Now this is a significant denial. That's a lot of palace guards. But the army there for BC slowly moving further forward. Oh, that's 3 springals. He might snap out a mangonel or 2, and if he does, that's absolutely huge. Because there's no more siege to take out production buildings. He does lose mangonels. Oh, that's 2. Even can he get the 3rd? He does. That's absolutely huge. Beastie recognizes it now, but it's a little bit too little too late. That's a massive, massive pick-off. That's absolutely huge. Don't underestimate that. Taking the mangonels off means that the infantry now can plod on, and it's mostly archers there. Palace guards will take care of that pretty easily. Oh no, the trade's going down. At least possibly soon. Not enough for another keep here, the Chinese. But yeah, losing trade is an issue. That's for sure. Oh, looks like he's backing away. Beastie recognizing without siege, you can't do too much more. And Louis has held on really well. Doesn't have much of a bank up of resources though. The game could still go either way, but yeah, he's losing eco units. A Beastie, if he can regroup, recalibrate, and push on from here, he could be in a good spot. He needs to be careful not to lose a bombard though. He's lost so many of those. The palace guards spot the crossbow. They're going for the crossbows instead. Oh, now he goes for the bombard. That's absolutely huge. He lost 2 bombards, pretty much free. Lost a lot of mangonels too. Kurultai heading back home. Now the crossbow is definitely going to do well against the palace guards. Definitely the right unit choice for Beastie. He's definitely going to want that unit. He's desperate to try and protect the trade. What he can of it, at least. They're going to get a bombard to take out the keep in the north. But again, I don't think the Chinese necessarily mind that too much. Although it does need to secure another gold vein. That could become an issue for the Chinese. Does have access to 8,000 gold vein there, but no villages out there. Difficult to get out there with the units here. But the Mongols cutting off that position. Go back onto the farms on the west side. Don't forget the Song Dynasty being in play. He's going to be able to reboom up pretty quickly. 2,500 food coming in per minute. Oh, palace guards coming in from the southeast though. We'll get a good surround on those archers. Picks off another bombard. louemt is doing it all game. He's taking out key siege units, although these siege units might go down for the Chinese. But the palace guards will get a wraparound. He's going to take out the crossbows first. He's going to get a decent kill off here with the units. Another group of palace guards heading forward. Don't forget he's got defender's advantage, which certainly helps. Line formation comes out for Beastie just to try and stop palace guards getting that wraparound. Does have incendiary arrows, which certainly helps. You know, overall, this armor is going to be cleaned up. This is absolutely huge. This is elite palace guard, by the way. And so they'll be doing fine against this. This cleanup is going to be massive. If Beastie loses his army, it makes it very difficult, because after that, the palace guard, you know exactly what they're going to do. They're going to start to swarm. They're going to go right to the heart of the Mongol base. And look at that juicy area. 42 villagers to be harassed and affected. Stone walls on the right side means that the lancers can't get too much value, or the keshiks, I should say. And he's really going for stone walls here. If the army moves that position and the villagers come out to rebuild, that's going to be difficult for the Mongols to do any significant damage. Bombard still working hard on that keep in the north. Trade's still working. Not as well as it once was. It looks like the Chinese heading forward now with the palace guards, which is kind of what the Mongols are going to be fearing. But if he does have crossbowmen, that will help defend. It just needs to keep the units in the strategic spots, and he does have some hand cannoneers as well. But I think at this point the palace guards might just run on top of that trade. He's going to snipe that bombard at least for now. Another pick-off. Heavy siege units being lost here for Mongols throughout the game. Yeah, it's going straight for that trade. If he denies the trade, he denies a lot of the economy, denies a lot of the gold, and that's going to maybe deny the game for Beastie. Yeah, this is an issue. All of those traders go down now. This is a significant number of palace guards, 52 in total army. And yeah, I mean, essentially all of it's palace guards. There's one nest of bees. Palace guards peeling for the north, just pulling away a couple of keshiks, which is not an ideal situation for the Mongols, because sure, he might kill those palace guards, but he can't do too much more with this. Nest of bees deploys. Kurultai packing up and moving out. And there's probably enough palace guards here to deal with the keshiks, to be honest. Which is not great. Even in the south, I mean, there's a lot of crossbows. Palace guards back away, using the movement speed as much as they can. The north gets a good trade-off. This is where a bit scary now, because the farming is back online. He's rebuilding slowly but surely. The trade is still trying to get their way through. But by no means a clean economy for Beastie at this point. Being harassed quite significantly, and that keep in such a strong position. Oh, it did break through in the end in the center. But ultimately, there's enough palace guards to deal with that. The keshiks can't ride through, and the ones that do are pretty weak in health anyway. In fact, they turned around and fought. Yeah, that's not ideal. They don't get too much more value now. Going to the wood line. Managed to get an outpost there, the Mongols, but that will go down pretty quickly now. And the Mongols having to be so defensive. You know you're in trouble if you're playing as the Mongols and having to be defensive. That's not what they want to be doing. There's so many villages there, right for the taking. Palace Guards dive on that. Could be really tricky. Look at the production. Look at the spamming of units. The Chinese do this so well. The traders still working as best they can. Couple of Palace Guards in the north. Plenty of outposts with cannon emplacements. So it'll be difficult for the Chinese to really take a good fight there. Always going to go right on top of the hand cannoneers and crossbows if you can. Getting a wrap around, and that's absolutely massive. The number's starting to overwhelm. 82 military to 51, and yeah, this is looking bad for Beastie. He loses his army, he loses his game, you feel. There's not much left in the tank, I don't think, for Beastie. Got plenty of food, but not enough gold. Gold is a huge issue for him, despite the trade, and now he's going to focus on villagers building the outpost, and yeah, he's going to be overrun here. Too many Palace Guards, and I think Beastie might need to tap out. It's being overswarmed, and yep, this is an issue. A lot more villages going down to 79. This is a huge fight. This is exactly what the Chinese wanted to do. Get the Palace Guard critical mass, and they're going to start torching down everything. And there it is, ladies and gentlemen. beastyqt taps out the trade. Proved ineffective. The Chinese were played incredibly well by louemt. Hope you guys enjoyed the castle game. Take care, and see you next time.